I'm fine.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, delighted for the first time to be joined by Otto Wallin. Oh, this is the actual first time that we've spoke since I've joined IFL TV. So yeah, first and foremost, big fight coming up. But how are you this training camp? How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. I feel like we talked before because I see you all the time on Instagram.
Oh, do you?
But yeah, I don't think we ever spoke, but I see you there all the time.
Well, I'll be out in Saudi, so you'll see a lot more of me face to face when I see you out in Saudi Arabia. Let's kickstart this off. Obviously, let's go back to the press conference, which was what 3 weeks ago, just a little bit over 3 weeks ago. Yeah, the back and forth between you and Anthony Joshua. Did you expect that from Anthony? That sort of, you were giving him respect, but he seemed like game face. Were you expecting that from Anthony?
I think he was just very unsure and he looked tense and stiff. And it was actually me that started talking to him. And after a while, I think he relaxed a little bit and started talking back. But my impression of him was that he was very stiff and tense and didn't know what to do.
Well, right now, obviously, you know Anthony Joshua pretty well because it's well documented that you sparred him leading up in 2016. You've had 2 amateur fights with each other, which were close, tight knit fights. So, what kind of Anthony Joshua are you expecting in 3 weeks' time?
I think that, well, he's still one of the best fighters in the world, so he deserves respect. He's gonna come out fighting, I'm sure, but it's I feel like lately he's been. Oh, what used to make him good was that he was aggressive, seek and destroy kind of guy, and he's gone back from that. He is. I think that he feels more vulnerable now. He knows that he can get beat, and he cares so much about what people think of him and how he looks when he fights. So for some reason, he has lost that seek and destroy style a little bit.
Well, let's
and
talk
I think
about
that's what made him good. That's what made him good before.
Well, let's talk about then. Obviously, he's with Ben Davison now. For 2 parts to this question. The first part is: do you think 6 weeks is enough? I know you're being a fighter. You need to gel with the coach. Your coach and a fighter need to have that gel, that sort of connection with each other. Do you think that this 6 weeks that Ben Davison has been with Anthony Joshua is that enough coming into a fight with yourself?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not only Ben Davison; it's also Derek James, Robert Garcia, and he's been changing trainers a lot now, and that's usually a bad sign. And I think that is the same for him now. And yes, look at myself. I've been with my 2 trainers, my boxing coach Joey, my strength conditioning coach Rune, for 10 years now. We've been together, so we trust each other 100%. They trust me, I trust them, and whatever Joey tells me to do, I'm willing to do it because he knows that I can do it because he's been teaching me for these 10 years to do what he says. So I think it's hard when you start changing trainers, and when you get in the ring in a big fight, you start getting hit, and then the guy that's in your corner telling you what to do, you might not trust him 100%, and I think that's a big problem.
Second part to the question then: do you not think that Ben Davison will bring that seek and destroy back to Anthony Joshua? I mean, that press conference for me, he seemed riled up, and even at the face-to-face, when you went face-to-face with him at the press conference, he seemed, there was a little bit of back and forth. I don't know what you can say about that, but do you not think that Ben Davison can bring that out of him?
I don't know Ben Davison enough to know, actually, so it's hard for me to tell, but it's just a short amount of time. And to make Joshua, I think that really Joshua, he has, I think he has mental issues. He doesn't want to get beat again. Nobody wants to get beat, but he doesn't like being hit or being beat, of course. So I think that's the big problem. And unless Ben Davison is a really good shrink, I don't think there's anything he can do.
Obviously, listen, you're obviously confident that you're going to beat Anthony Joshua. You're talking about his mental state, and he's lost that sort of seek and destroy that he used to have, 4 or 5 years ago. Now, when I spoke to Eddie Hearn out in Dublin, I mentioned the rematch clause, and he said he was sort of like protecting his asset. It's good business on his end. Now, you're on the end of it. What's your thoughts on this rematch clause that was put in the contract?
I think it's silly. Joshua's not the champion anymore. So the only reason why they have a rematch is because they're scared of him losing. And, unfortunately with boxing, if I would say no to the rematch, I wouldn't get the opportunity in the first place. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But I want the fight, so I'm gonna do everything it takes to get the fight. And then sometimes in boxing, you have to agree on things you don't want to, and that's what happened here. But I'm just happy I'm getting the fight, and then if I beat him once, I beat him again.
Are you worried about your IBF #2 slot? Because when Tyson Fury and Usyk fight, they might vacate becoming undisputed because there'll be so many mandatories coming at them once one of them becomes an undisputed champion. Are you worried about your IBF ranking? If you beat Joshua and you have to do the rematch, you might lose out on that world title shot?
Yeah, that was we thought about that. I thought about that a lot. I mean, when I was offered this fight, and we just felt like this opportunity is bigger than if I would fight for the world title against Hrgovic. We just feel like this Joshua fight is bigger. It's a bigger name, huge opportunity. I beat him. I should be in line to fight for any title.
Let's go back on the Ben Davison thing. Obviously, he knows you very well because he was in the corner when you fought Tyson Fury. So he knows the type of fighter you are and what you bring to the table. He's clearly studied you before in the past. And I'll say, do you think that would help Joshua going into this fight with you?
He might. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know Ben Davison enough. I think that Fury is a special fighter, and he's very sure of himself. He knows what he can do, and he knows what to do. He's been boxing probably his whole life, and so I think that Fury is a total different fighter than Joshua, and he can do a lot of things that Joshua can't.
Well, they are two different fighters, like you said there. But I do want to mention this: you had an absolutely fantastic win against Gassiev. You went into the Lions Den. You got the win. Is that going to stand you in good stead against Anthony Joshua? Because, like I say, you're going in here to the underdog. You're expecting to lose because they're thinking about Joshua and Wilder. That's the fight we all want next. So you've got no pressure on you. So after that win against Gassiev and then coming against somebody like Joshua, I mean, how fired up are you for this fight?
I mean, I've been working for this almost my whole life, so I'm so excited that it's finally happening. And like you said, I feel like I have no pressure. I can just go in there, enjoy, and put everything on the line and do whatever it takes to win. I got to remember, I come from a small town in Sweden. We barely had any pros come out of there. We had one before me, I think. And when I first started boxing, professional boxing wasn't even allowed. So just to make it out of there, to now live in New York City and to fight on this show against Joshua in Saudi Arabia is just amazing. It's a big accomplishment. And I've had a lot of help over the years, so I'm very proud of myself and my team, the people around me. So I'm just so excited that I'm gonna have this shot to prove that I'm one of the best fighters in the world.
One quick one before I let you go and get on with the rest of your evening, Otto, is Joseph Parker's in the same boat as you. He's in the same position, I believe. He's been busy. He's had a good win in his last outing. He's up against Wilder. Again, he's brought in to get beat because we're talking about the Wilder-Fury fight. Can Joseph Parker upset Wilder, and can you upset Joshua all on the same night? And just sort of like throw the marbles up in the air, so to speak.
I think that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I feel confident that I'm going to beat Joshua. I think with Parker, he has been active. Wilder has not been active, and I think that could be a big issue for Wilder. Parker is a good fighter. He has a good team around him, so he's a live dog for sure. He can possibly beat Wilder, but I still think that Wilder is going to be the favorite. If Parker goes in there and tries to box, he'll probably get knocked out. But he's really got to go in there and just take it to Wilder, and then I think he can beat him.
Definitely.
And then, I beat Joshua. That'd be amazing. That'd be me and Parker, everybody was talking about.
Listen, that would be an absolutely surreal moment if that does happen. But listen, you've been in boxing long enough. We've seen this sort of the underdogs come through and get the wins. But listen, I'm going to be out in Saudi Arabia. I cannot wait for this card. I cannot wait for your fight. I'm looking forward to it, Otto. But again, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your training camp if you can. And I'll see you out in Saudi Arabia, mate.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right.
I'm fine.